Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us to our Upland Q2 AMA with Idan and Danny. Thank you, Idan, for joining us today. How are you guys doing?
Amazing.
It's Friday.
It is Friday. It's exciting. I'm excited for the weekend. Always excited for the weekend. You guys just we dropped our Q2 roadmap update. So we thought we'd sit down and take some questions from the community. That's what we're going to do today. Thank you, everybody, for being here live with us. We did take some questions from the in-game chat, which we've been utilizing lately. Very excited. The part of the Q2 roadmap was about that. Some very excited stuff coming there. We also took questions from Twitter, and we will be taking some questions here from YouTube live on this call. I think we lost Idan for a hot
we
second,
lost Idan.
so we'll wait to get him back.
I want to do it by myself. Okay.
Denny, why don't we start just by let's recap kind of what our favorite parts of 2024 have been so far. Some big things have dropped up to this quarter. For instance, city openings. We've got a lot of new features in city openings. The season pass is here, which has been exciting. Car travel has come as well. Those are really what stand out for me. It feels like Upland is really firing on all cylinders at the moment. We have the airdrop as well, the airdrop platform that just dropped. What stands out to you the most?
Well, I've been working on the airdrop, so that's been consuming me the whole time. Really trying to engage how do we turn our amazing community and like show the Web3 world what we have, because it's part of the process of Upland being a little bit, insular, like in like this greenhouse, both our economy and our community. And now with Sparklet and the airdrop showing how amazing this is. And we've had a few people that we've been talking to, and Dirk's been traveling. He's been at speaking at in Dubai last week at Token 2049. Before that in Paris and NFT Paris. Before that in NFT New York. So Idan and Dirk have been in all these conferences, and they've been reporting that people are coming up to them, like influencers and news, like people who write for different news outlets, and have been saying, wow, like we've been seeing this hype around Upland on Twitter, a lot of talk, like the great impressions. And I'm like, yeah, it's always been there. It's just that we haven't really mobilized those more Web3 channels in a way. And now that we have, I think it's very powerful to show everyone and to bring in more people to our community.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been crazy to see just how many members of the community are passionate about Upland and sharing it with everyone. My favorite part has been the memes that players have been creating. It's been a blast to see. You guys are hilarious and creative, more creative than I could ever be. So that's been a lot of fun. Welcome back, Idan. Did the internet just go out there for a hot minute?
On that line, we're all good.
Yeah, we got you back. Happy to have you here. Let's start real quick. Just jump into some questions here, and we'll have a conversation about some of this stuff. Ablando wrote in and gives us our first question, and this one's for Idan. He wants to know what the plan is for landmark structures such as the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and the Hollywood Roosevelt Hotel. And he wants to know, will there be something special such as 3D space with special interactivity? When might that happen? And I thought this is a great opportunity for us to talk again about monuments.
Sure. And again, there are several questions hidden in those kind of like couple of sentences. First of all, again, landmarks have always been what they are. So structures that are iconic in different cities around the world and in Upland, that when they are being minted in Upland, first of all, the structure needs to be kind of like should resemble its a real world counterpart. But then it's also visible from a very high level zoom of the map via these special white pins that signify each landmark in each city. So that's what makes landmarks special. Other than that, other than kind of like collectible nature and their kind of like sentimental desirability and oftentimes also like their important locations and their visibility. That's what makes them unique. Other than that, for now, they are, resemble any other property in Upland. So we recently introduced monuments, right? And that started, when we with the previous Men's World Cup in Qatar, with the first monument in Lusail Stadium. And these are basically special types of landmark that are associated with, different opportunities to create further earning streams from these. So this could be based on the racetracks that are associated with them, with the seasonal races that happen in Upland. And then also now we're going to introduce basically the first immersive 3D experience that is associated with a landmark, that also comes with a special, let's call it either engagement or gamification loop beyond just socializing, drink buying, streaming, etc. And this will be unveiled as an experiment with the Lusail Stadium. So this is, again, something that makes monuments even more special. Regarding all of the other landmarks, so I think today we have dozens of landmarks already probably built in Upland, and we are releasing these models one by one, but in a very steady cadence. So anybody who is an owner of a landmark will have the opportunity to build it and basically then receive that pin that makes it visible in the game. Does that cover it, David? I don't know if there are any follow-up questions to that.
Yeah, no, there is one. I think it's just, once again, I think you covered everything there, but maybe just re-clarify here the difference between landmarks and monuments. Monuments, the key here is they have that interactive feature. It's like, is it safe to say monuments are landmarks on steroids?
Exactly. So monuments is a special class within landmarks. And again, the first thing that makes them unique is that they are tied to the Upland seasons. And for now, it's one city, one monument, one city per season. In the future, it may expand beyond that. But there are special events that happen there in conjunction with the Upland seasons. And the first thing that we've already seen was basically races, right? So the Upland racing circuit, the racing finals for each season happened around the monument. So we've had already Lusail Stadium in Qatar, and then we're going to have this season around Manhattan, the new kind of like a circuit there. And this is the first kind of like thing that makes it unique. Beyond that, we're also going to introduce this new concept of having, again, an interactive, immersive engagement form. And I don't want to say too much before we kind of like unveil exactly what that is. But it's an internal immersive space that is more than just the ability to socialize, what we see today in cafes, etc. Now, it doesn't mean that in the future, again, internal spaces are not going to be limited to just monuments. In the future, we envision that every structure may have kind of like an immersive experience inside it, including private homes, etc. What makes monument unique is that they are going to come with these experiences pre-made, right? So it's not that you like, you can take today, you'll be able to take any structure in Upland and create a layer 2 experience to your liking, be it a game or a service or whatever. The monument would come pre-built with this unique experience inside of them, which is going to be, by the way, different between each of the monuments.
Yeah, that's really exciting, and I think I'm excited to see what that is like and what that looks like when we unveil that. Danny, anything to add about monuments there or landmarks?
I think that we're going to learn a lot from launching the first monument and the indoor experience and the gamification around it, and of course the different business models, because the revenue from the games and the different monetization opportunities will go to the owner. So I think doing it first with monuments and then learning from that experience on the different business models, and then seeing, okay, the different landmarks that are not monuments, what are we doing there based on the data that we've gathered for monuments. So it's a process, but while the vision is that every structure in Upland will have an indoor experience one way or another, whether it's UGC or out of the box. Obviously, landmarks will be like the next ones after monuments, and also will. But I think it would be wrong of us to say right now, oh, we know exactly what it's going to be and how we're gonna do it, unless Idan already has in his head the whole entire strategy, which usually happens. But it's really learning from the different business models with Monument. Unless I'm completely off here, Idan, correct me.
At the end of the day, the grand vision for Upland is that every structure can become a space. What makes monuments unique is the fact that they come with a very special and one-of-a-kind engagement loop that is predefined. Whereas if you have your home, your landmarks, they could become shops, they could become kind of like gathering places similar to cafes, albeit probably limited by the amount of people that can get into it, etc. Again, what makes monuments unique is the fact that the owner will get to also own a special form of engagement and own also the revenue streams that are being generated from there.
Yeah, that's really exciting. I'm excited to see what the first experiences are like for the monuments there. Since we're talking about monuments, I think the next question is a natural fit here, because our racing seasons, they happen, the end of the season, the championships happen around monuments, and we have introduced this season the max performance score, and we've talked about consumables. Goldsmith wrote in with some questions about those. Will using consumables that boost your max performance score and accumulating points during race seasons, will they make you eligible for the Upland Championship circuit, or will these races be based only on your MPS score? So I think that's a little bit confusing. I think what he's asking there is, let's review, how do consumables work with the MPS score? How will that work with racing in the future?
Sure. Yeah. So whenever, let's first of all ignore kind of like the Upland racing secret. Let's just think about normal racing, right? So if I'm now launching a race, I'll be able to determine the MPS for that race, and I can determine it as whatever I want, as long as it hits the minimum, let's say minimal car in Upland, right? With that, basically, I define who can participate in the race, and that could be any combination of a car, the driver, and any consumables that may be used, right? And then you can strategize around what you want to use. I can go for my best car and use all of my MPS for that. I can go with a lower car and a better driver when the driver feature will be made available. Or I can decide to do a combination of consumables as well. The intention basically is to allow creating races where there is a leveled playing field among the competitors. Now, when you apply that to professional racing and the Upland circuit, you can imagine that the MPS will be pretty high. So probably allowing the participation of the top cars, at least at kind of like the most the highest ranked heats, right? So you can imagine we will have MPS that would allow the highest performing cars with some sort of consumable also added into the mix, just to make it a bit more interesting and more kind of like make it more of a skillful outcome, if that makes sense.
Yeah, what I love about it is it's this opportunity for racing to really, like, the decisions you make before the race matter a lot, and how you choose to approach it. And I'm sure what we're going to see is metas coming up in racing, season in and season out, depending on what consumables are released. Maybe the meta for next season is vans with X boost or X consumable, because that's how you get more bang for your buck and you're able to beat these top tier cars, for instance. It's going to be really interesting to see how it plays out and what these metas become in racing.
And also keeping in mind that different boost combinations will perform differently in different racetracks. And one of the beautiful things about Upland racing is that there's like an endless amount of tracks. Like usually when you have racing games, you have, you know, tens, dozens of tracks you can play in. In Upland, it's endless because it's all user generated and it's all, you know, dynamic. So, you know, just figuring out what is the optimal boost combination with your skills and with the competitors, then you know, the opportunity to show your skills are endless here, and this is what makes it at the end of the day fun.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it. I don't know if we can talk about this, but Goldsmith has a question about how consumables, or if we even decide how this will work. How will the stackability of consumables be limited? So is it like, will there be limited to 1 or 2 slots per race? Will it be unlimited? How do we know how that will work yet?
It's inherently limited by the MPS, right? So your MPS is your limiting factor when stacking boosts. You know, it may be the case that there are going to be limitation for how many boosts of the same kind you can stack on top of each other. So that will be probably limited kind of like to one of a kind, but there's going to be a lot of different types of boosts that you can utilize. The limiting factor will be the MPS.
Very good. Yeah, I'm really excited for the racing. I think we're going to see some crazy stuff there. We already have some really talented racers for sure. This is only going to increase that. Let's talk about decentralization. We got this question for you, Danny, from YouTube chat. Does Upland have plans to be more decentralized in the future?
Always plans. But the concept of progressive decentralization is something that has been core in the way Upland developed its platform and its product and the way we're thinking of things. Because on the one hand, we want to safeguard the economy while it's nascent and being built, and on the other hand, we want to allow the progression towards what is, you know, a more like pure Web3 experience for the users. Open up the economy, open up the platform. It allows also for you know, a lot of the things that Idan and Dirk have been working on with OMA 3, the Open Metaverse Alliance for Web3, bridging, working with other worlds, other games, other Web3 services. So we're always looking for what is the right path now. I think the utilizing even more the existing governance feature that we have is definitely one of them. But the main focus right now is on Sparklet. To have the bridge in place, to have the smart contracts in place, to have a very good launch that we're working towards, and then test the water, see how that affects our economy. And through Sparklet, there are a lot of opportunities also for more and more progressive decentralization of with the different pools, for example. So one of the things we talked about in the white paper and that we're looking into is, for example, we have a pool for grants for developers to develop more on Upland. That's a Sparklet grant pool. How do we involve the community, whether it's Sparklet holders or the community and the governance within Upland, to maybe vote on initiatives and developer grants? So those are all things we're looking into, but the first step of the Sparklet launch and the bridging event will definitely be the catalyst for most of these things.
Yeah, I think it seems like another example where Upland is leading the way, because we started talking about progressive decentralization publicly. I think we've always talked about it internally, and now I see it everywhere. And I'm like, you guys, everyone's copying us. What's happening? What's happening here? So we're definitely, I think, setting the trend there, which is very, very exciting. Great question, guys. Thank you for that question. Star Labs wrote in, Idan, and asked, he has a question about the 3D objects that executives are supposed to receive for leveling up. When can players expect those? Do we have any plans in the near future for that to come?
We will have updates about that in the near future for sure. But I can't give now timelines right now. Definitely going to be updates coming about that.
Very cool. And then Wolf Warner has a question about sound and audio. When will it come for racing? Or also also in-game music, sound effects. Do we have any plans on that direction?
Yeah, so I think we've been getting this question a lot, I think, over the AMAs. And again, our strategic thinking here is, first of all, yes, this sound is lacking in Upland. That is an absolute fact that we are absolutely aware of. Especially in experiences like games and racing and other types of kind of like games like treasure hunts. The problem with sound is that it's really easy to do a crappy job about it, and it's really hard to do it right, in a way that's fun, immersive, and doesn't get in your way. And to date, this has not been high enough on our priority list that we thought we can do a good enough of a job to introduce it as a kind of like an immersive layer in Upland. So the frustrating answer is that we don't have timelines for sound. Maybe the positive answer is that when we do it, we'll at least try to do it in a way that is that doesn't suck.
Yeah. Did we? I think I heard you say this before. At one point, was there sound when, like, before I was even here, ever in Upland? Like, did it launch with some sound effects?
So our very first version of the racing app had sound in it.
That's what it was.
And it was, let's call it controversial. I don't want to say horrendous. So again, like at some points, like it's not a good idea to have sound just for the sake of saying there's sound and everybody mutes it, because it doesn't work. For you as an experience. So our preference was to, for now, keep it silent until we can do it good enough.
Very good. Yeah, I knew, I heard you say that. I didn't realize it was for the racing app. So, real quick, one more question from me here. This is from Splint Talk, and I actually think I can take this one. He asks, "What's up with the hackathon?" So, for those of you that don't know, every year we run a hackathon for Genesis. We should have an announcement here very, very soon. So stay tuned. It's getting prepped, and we're getting ready to announce that. And very excited for this year's hackathon. Always get some excellent submissions, and it'll be exciting to see what players are able to do and create from us there. So thank you for that question, Splint Talk. And sorry, I'm just reviewing questions here on YouTube. We do get this question a lot, and I think this is a good opportunity to address it. Again, is a lot of players want some sort of building rental, property rental. Have we thought about that at all? Is there discussions happening about that? For me, the question I always ask, or we always ask on the community team side, is, well, what do we do with rentals? Like, what would be the purpose of rentals? How about you, Idan?
Yeah. So first of all, absolutely. This is something we've talked about extensively, spec'd out. It's on our roadmap. And by the way, not just limited to properties, but also you can imagine cars, right? If you own a very powerful car that can race well, but you're not a very good racer, you can rent it out to somebody maybe who can race it better than you. So again, the renting of assets in Upland is something that has been on our roadmap for a long while. Definitely something we're constantly thinking about in an active way. And it's going to happen in time. So we definitely see that. And the more and more utility that comes with properties, the more and more reasons there would be to rent out properties. So again, when we introduce internal spaces for properties, we already have meta ventures. You have a desirable location that you want to rent out for a meta venture because that is a hotspot of visiting purchasers. Up until now, just recently we released the fact that you can drive your car from one property to the property that you own in a different city. Okay, what if I don't own a property, but I want to rent a property so I can utilize it for my car, as an example? And there's going to be more and more things coming up with that. So it makes perfect sense that if you truly own an asset, that you can also rent it. It does come with a significant technology, let's say, investment that needs to be done to enable that in a safe and secure way. So that will come in the future. We are actively thinking about it, and there are going to be a lot of good reasons why you would want to rent out assets.
Yeah, that's exciting.
It seems like you're dying to put in like a word.
Idan, after our roadmap update, I saw a lot of people like And I see Ardeep Pfeiffer wrote a question as well. When are we going to hear more about totems? When's the next cycle? And what is the twist? I think we gave them a little bit of a teaser, and they're dying for a little bit more. Is there anything else you can share other than what we spoke about on Monday?
I can share that it's, more information is going to come very soon. So, it's going to be fun.
Yeah, there was a teaser from the Upland account on Twitter, which was interesting. I don't know what it was. It looked like a zoomed in video of something. So it'll be interesting to see what else comes. So if you're not following us on Twitter, go follow us on Twitter.
Yeah, it's one of those. It's like, something exciting's coming when David starts dropping the teasers.
Yes, always. Similar to More Cheese has another good question. Similar to renting, and I think we did drop an announcement, I believe last summer, about this. MetaVenture royalties. Do we have a timeline for when those will start?
Yeah. So just to clarify, and I'm assuming we're talking about creator royalties for secondary sales from user-generated content. So yes, this is going to come. I want to say definitely by Genesis week, but again, don't catch me on the spot. But in any case, the royalties will be backdated, right? So they will go back to the very first UGC creation going forward. So no Apex royalties will be missed from creators.
That's huge. Everyone pass that along to your friends. It will be backdated. So I don't know that that's been. I think we talked about that, but I don't know that players have widely been aware of that. So that's huge news. So don't hesitate on creating. Create. You will be backdated. So
I think it's also a good point maybe to shout out. So everything we're doing in Upland, all the royalties and the and the meta ventures and UGC processing and live events and city openings, there is a huge operational load that is Upland, right? And some things take time to basically get the right processes in place and to activate them. And shout out to Heli and the team for kind of like running the amazing operations in Upland. But again, all of these things, this is why they take time, because again, all of these things needs to be a lot of times coded, put in the processes, the checks and balances for making sure that the right things happen. And there is a team that actually has to handle all these things. And that's why sometimes it takes a bit of time to get things into place.
Yeah. Absolutely. Regardless, the royalty feature is very exciting. A lot of players are really excited about that. Let's talk about Sparklet real quick, Danny. This may be for you. We get this question a lot, and I think it's a good opportunity to clarify what we can and cannot talk about, what we do or do not know, especially around Sparklet. Avesquez asked in-game chat, any idea when Sparklet will be on exchanges, what those exchanges will be, et cetera, et cetera?
Okay, so yeah, it is a good opportunity to maybe clarify something we've said in the past, that we can't talk about these things from a legal perspective, right? Like there can't be any speculation or talk about exchanges around listing or around pricing of listing. The law's pretty clear on that, or not clear, at least the risk management aspect of it is pretty clear. And those are things that as a company, we can't talk about because we don't want to bring in the speculators, or that something we say might be manipulated or considered to be speculation. So it's not that we don't want to share and that it's not being worked on in the back end. It's that we really cannot share these things. And if you're a Web3 native, then they usually know that these announcements come really at the last minute, and it's for good reason. Like that is the industry standard because of the regulation aspect.
Yeah. And what about the airdrop? So we just finished chapter 1 on the airdrop.
Yes.
We're finalizing the rewards as we speak. So stay tuned for that, everybody. Do we have any news on chapter 2? Are we going to see it evolve or progress? Anything we can share there?
Sure. So first of all, just in terms of the timeline, in case you guys missed the tweet, everyone should connect their Upland account to the airdrop platform by May 1st. The May 1st will be kind of a snapshot, and then the Spark will be distributed in app on May 2nd. So that's when you can claim your Spark from the airdrop, chapter 1. Now, in terms of chapter 2, I think this is a great place to actually say it's being worked on right now. So if you do have ideas for features that we can, I mean, there are going to be new features. We are learning a lot from the way you guys interacted with the platform in the social network, and we're very happy with it. But we already found along the way much room for improvement on our side, to make it more effective given our goals, and to make it more fun and for you guys to interact. I think one of the most exciting things that we saw is that the organic initiatives around it. So I saw a lot of, follow for the community, which is great, because, this is a great place for you guys to share other in-game things that people might be missing on Discord. So that's a great initiative. And we also saw a few community members actually do raffles for UPX for following them and for engaging with their with their account. One thing I can say is that the next chapter will for sure have additional aspects for your multiplier. So I think you guys looked at the code / reverse engineered it and really understood, okay, how do I get to the next level of the multiplier and what are the elements of it? We're definitely adding more engagement points that we can see through the Twitter API. So everything that you do now that can contribute to your reach and your engagement will help you in chapter 2. And that includes your reach both to the Upland community on Twitter, but to the general GameFi community, right? We've seen a lot of people get reach by commenting to different GameFi, either KOLs or people online who review a lot of different GameFis, and like telling them about Upland, and people like that increased their personal reach. People are like, oh, what is this? Looking into their profile, and if you know the Twitter algorithm, like that really helps you. So everything that you're doing now until chapter 2 will contribute to your chapter 2 multiplier for sure.
Yeah, and like you said, hint, reply to everyone.
Be the reply guy.
Be
The
the
reply
reply
guy
guy.
is a great strategy, as we've seen. And of course, any suggestions to us, if you've seen on other airdrop platforms or missions, then shoot it to us, either in the chat to the community team, or you can DM me. My DMs are open both on in game or on Twitter.
Yeah, one thing that we talked about as well, Denny, that I think gets missed, because I've seen this come up on Twitter a few times, is what about for those of us that are in the game, playing the game, airdrop for us? And we've talked about it a little bit. Maybe we could talk about it a little bit more and just explain to players that we haven't forgot about you. There's events coming.
Yeah, so we wanted to save the events sort of for the interim period, also between the two chapters. So there are going to be missions in game added to the mission center that will be for Spark.
Excellent. And proof positive right here, just what you were talking about. Kenny knows, from 400 followers to 1,100 followers since the airdrop event started. Thank you, Upland. Congratulations, Kenny knows. Well done on that. We got a question on quality of life updates. This is a common question we get all the time. Idan, Shackdalin writes in and asks, will quality of life updates be made to the UI, for instance, asset management enhancements?
Yes.
Yes.
Definitely. So definitely we are, again, something that has been very much brought up and we're actively working on is making property search better. Now, this is a bit of a more of a heavier lift, and we usually don't kind of like integrate specific quality of life items into the roadmap. but these are things that we are working on. So there's a couple of items that are already in work. Some of them will take a bit longer, but absolutely there is going to be improvement coming for property and asset searches.
Yeah, very, very exciting. The other question, Jacqueline, and I think I can answer this time frame. Jacqueline asks, is there a time frame for Speedway applications to reopen? I think you should see those reopen soon as well, similar to what we saw when we closed up for map assets as well as structure ornaments. It's just for us to revamp the system on our side, get caught up so that when we reopen it, things run much more smoothly and it's more timely manner for those applications to be reviewed and approved. So stay tuned for that. We should see something there soon. Shakdalin, thank you for that question. Semi-trucks. Semi-trucks are one of our most popular cars. They are one of our cooler cars. If you've anyone that hasn't seen a semi-truck, go look them up right now. They look amazing. Players want to know, when are they getting trailers, transportation for goods?
So again, we're seeing the elements are put in place. So the most recent one was the ability, first of all, to just use your car to travel in between cities. Again, cargo movement is something that is on the roadmap. We do not have yet an ETA for that. But once cargo movement is available, that is when it will make sense for us to then complement the semi-trucks with their semi-trailers, with their trailers. And again, just to reiterate, anybody who owns a semi-trailer right now will also get a trailer with it once that happens. We do not have yet, though, an ETA for it.
Yeah, the car travel dropping has been huge. I think that's one thing that we kind of glossed over. Tahoe opening up as our first, the only way you can get there is by car, was super exciting. It was super cool to do. I actually beforehand prepared. I drove to Stockton first, and I think I was one of the first ones to reach Tahoe. So really cool. Idan, have you taken advantage of that? Have you gone on a road trip in Upland yet?
Yeah, and by the way, it's funny because up until now so we are restricted kind of like in the assets that we're able to own in Upland as team members. So up until now, I only had one property in LA, and I really wanted to use my car to travel to check it out. So I did purchase another property in Stockton, and actually made a couple of trips there. So it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, there's probably more people in Upland traveling to Stockton than in real life at the moment. So it's become a destination point for a lot of people. But same thing, yeah, it's super cool. The way it works is fun, and it's exciting to see how that will evolve. That goes to, you guys talked about it in the Q2 roadmap update, the iterative philosophy that we have at Upland, right, Danny?
Yeah, definitely. Oh, David, I found one question for you from Cafe Mogador. Any chance of getting more community interactive events like scavenger hunts, city tours, parades again? Those are awesome for engagement.
Yeah, absolutely. So stay tuned. Genesis Week is coming. Remember, so there's Genesis Live, which is in person on Friday, but all week there's events, and some of those events that you haven't seen in a while, they may make a return for Genesis Week, and they may make a return in a big way. So stay tuned, but definitely. One thing that's pretty tricky is some of the events. So for instance, we used to do a lot of Flash Challenge, and we're looking at ways to bring those back. We used to do them in Discord. We now have in-game chat, which would be a fun way to do it. It's figuring out how to do it with the influx of players that we've seen. That's the difficult. So something that may have worked for 1,000 active players doesn't work as well with 20,000 active players. So any ideas or suggestions that you have on that, go and leave them on our feedback board. We're always looking there, and really looking to implement more of those interactive events for sure. Idan, I saw you nodding your head. Anything to add to that?
No, not really. I was just echoing, the notion that you said. I think we used to have, like, I remember like one specific event that was really, really cool. It was like curators versus thieves versus burglars, where you have to like steal items from a museum owner. And again, this actually worked great when we had, I don't know how many DAUs we had back then, probably around 5,000, maybe less. But now that we have more towards like 50,000, 35, 50,000, right? It becomes a challenge, right? So we do, I think, want to find kind of like a happy medium. We do want to kind of like figure out how to do still live events that are engaging at this scale. So you're probably going to be seeing more and more different things that are being tested out. But definitely we are big believers in live events and kind of like engaging the community in fun ways.
I think one big step we made towards making some of these really possible is our mission center and the missions in game. We tried just a few weeks ago. Some players you may remember temporary missions. So you in the next 2 hours go do X, Y, and Z and get rewarded. There were some hiccups there that we're working through right now, but you can see how these utilizing those missions, those temporary missions, will bring back some of that engagements and really opens up a whole new world of events like that for us. So
But I
that's
think also as we grow, there are now more and more opportunities to have fun and engage without the need for curating. And there are couple of examples could be, car, racing. Just go race with your friends, have fun. That type of like an engagement experience that's going to come to Lusail Stadium, right? That's going to be, you're going to be able to do that without needing anybody to curate it. Layer 2 experiences that it was just in recent months that we've seen kind of like this increase in these opportunities. And by the way, one new one that is coming very, very, very soon that is going to be really, really, really cool. So again, while it used to be the case that only these periodic live events were the way for you to kind of like engage in Upland, other than just property trading, I think today it's a different world. There's a lot of ways that you can have fun and engage without the need of somebody curating a live event.
That's a great point. And I actually see Left House here in chat, and another recent example that I just want to shout out is Left House premiering his movie in game there at the theater was amazing. And then he ran the movie premiere for the whole week after that. And I know he's been doing his own events over there as well. So no, that's a great point. It's going to be very exciting to see how players create their own events in these experiences.
And also keep in mind now with our developer tools, anybody that has access to either a development team or, again, we're talking about really, really light development, you can create your own live events in Upland and have them engaging, which is pretty cool, right? Like literally, that's one of the main goals for us, was to empower the community to run their own events, their own games, their own services. So I believe we'll get there at the end of the day. It's going to happen slowly because it takes time to build and think about creative ideas. But as time goes, we're going to see more and more of these happen through our community as well.
Yeah, another shout out real quick just before we move on, because I think I'd shoot myself I'd kick myself if we didn't shout them out. But the Real Note LA, Elijah, they put on their own events and games all the time. It's just a great example. So if you haven't checked out either Left House Theater or the Real Note LA, go check out both of them. They're doing events all the time, and I think are great examples of communities and people coming up with events and gamification on their own, which is really exciting. Danny, I know you're really excited about the extras tab in the store and these bundles that are there and are evergreen. We got a question about them. Anonymous asks, the new bundles under the extra tabs being sold for ETH and USD, are we to assume that these will be replenished regularly, and are these evergreen?
Yeah, so let's maybe step back towards the reason we decided to do this. So we're seeing amazing momentum and this like uptick in new users coming into Upland, and a lot of them are Web3 because of our progressive decentralization, because of Sparklet, are looking into, okay, this is a 5-year-old GameFi platform that has so many features and exciting things going on. Let's check it out. Now, when you look at the, I would say, characteristics of a lot of these new players and what they're used to in Web3, it's not necessarily, like going very deep down the funnel, understanding, okay, how do I travel? Where do I go buy? They kind of like first want to grab onto something and start building with their Sparklet, and then that entices them to go deeper down the funnel. So it's a little of a reverse user experience than what we have in Upland. So what we wanted to do, and this is really important for the for this, especially for the starter bundles, is to allow them, okay, you come in with Sparklet that you got it somewhere, whether it's from airdrop platform, through partnerships, or in on through your Ethereum wallet. You bridge it into Upland, and now you want to start building. You want to start building right away. And if you have a lot of Sparklet, maybe you want to build a few properties. So this is a great opportunity to get really deeper down the funnel quicker with that experience. And hopefully that's such a good experience for you that you continue, okay, now I want to travel to Tokyo and get more properties, and you start building out your strategy. But the first step is a little easier. So yes, the idea is to have them in evergreen, and always on and always in Upland. Also, especially because the legacy cities, while there are still some unminted properties, they're not really easy to find. And if you're new, it's we don't want it to be a frustrating experience for you to spend, an hour like trying to move around LA to find a property to mint.
Yeah, I think getting getting some properties, then being able to work with those properties is a really great first experience for a lot of players, for sure. I don't know. I know that we can't share specific details necessarily, but I do think we have a question in chat here in YouTube chat about the state of the economy. Are new players coming to the game? Can we talk a little bit? Maybe we can talk a little bit about what we're seeing on our side from that aspect.
Sure, I could take this one. So I can say with a lot of excitement that in 2024, we've seen doubling, that's 2x of new users coming in month over month. So February is doubled in January, March was doubled in February, and we're looking at in April that's going to be almost doubled than March. So we're seeing exponential growth of users coming in through many different channels, and we keep on experimenting with different channels and seeing which ones work to bring in. And of course, there's always the organic lift. Organic lift, generally speaking, because a lot of people are talking about GameFi and are trying to find the coolest GameFi projects, but also because of you guys, because of your Twitter engagement. People are like, whoa, like a lot of people are sharing really cool memes and really cool in-game frames of Upland. Let's go check it out.
Yeah, absolutely. It's super exciting. Idan.
And yeah, and by the way, this is where I think the community can rally together to try to capture and captivate as many of these new players as possible. Because let's face it, it's not easy to get deep into Upland. It can be a bit overwhelming at first. Understanding the ins and outs, even just grasping all the possibilities and everything that's in there. Right? It's an open world with a lot of features, a lot of pathways you can take as a player and as a value creator. And I think it's up for us and the community together to identify these new players and engage them, and do everything we can to actually convert them into long-term players that enjoy the platform.
Yeah, and this is where I'm going to plug in-game chat. If you're not, one of the best ways to help, come and be active in-game chat. A lot of players already are. We see some regulars over there already, which is really, really helpful. But players, there's a mission in Upland for players, new players, to go and chat in the in-game chat. Come over there, be active, and help some new players get accustomed and introduce the community to these new players there. I think has a huge effect, and we've seen that on our side. So definitely come and be active in-game chat. We just have a few minutes left, everybody, so thank you in advance for all of your questions. We appreciate it. This, I think, is one of our most attended and most watched AMAs ever. Just on YouTube, we're over 500 live viewers, but we're also over on X, and we're also over in the cafe, or in the Plaza. I keep saying cafe. It's the Plaza. And we talked about sound earlier. I forgot there's sound in the Plaza. If you didn't know that, go check it out. It's the sounds of San Francisco. So you may hear some cars and trolleys going by as you're in there. After this, we are going to have a community meetup. Idan and Danny are going to be, and our community team is going to be over in the Plaza buying drinks for everybody, or having drinks with everybody rather. So for those of you that don't know, there's a new drink feature in cafes in the Plaza where you can buy a drink with Upix, and those drinks unlock different emotes for you. Super cool. I've had a chance to jump in and check it out myself. It's a lot of fun. So make sure you join us over in the Plaza after this. Have a couple, raise a drink, and then celebrate Friday. Start the weekend off right. Last question for you, Idan, here from Android, who wrote in. He wants to know, what is the future of the NFLPA, FIFA, and Stock Car Pro legits? Are we ever going to do virtual signing events? And would a feature like this be included on previously released legits?
Yeah, so again, autographs have always been on the roadmap for legits, and yes, when that feature will be implemented, you would be able to do it on any type of legit, even if it was bought, whatever, 2 or 3 seasons ago. So yes, absolutely.
Excellent. And last question for Danny. This comes from Shib Rich in YouTube chat. He asked this earlier. We've saved it just for you. Where do you see Upland 20 years from now? That's a big outlook. 20 years is a long time. I'll be an old man in 20 years. So
I have to say that sorry for the background noise. I tried to run away and they're chasing me. I have it on one of my million tabs open. There's the Roblox user acquisition chart and Roblox is I think 16 years old, almost, or close to 20 years old. And when you kind of spot when you put the Upland users on and you plot it, you see that it's a very similar trajectory. So that's the one I look at. I see it as kind of the Roblox for adults in the future, with an open real economy that the Roblox generation will grow into, because they'll mature and they want a more sophisticated real game economy, with a lot of brands coming in, and the social aspect, so and social features, and building. I have a lot of people who I know our age who are building games in Roblox in order to monetize as a side business, or creators. Like, I totally see Upland as like a much better version because of its economy, and also targeting adults. That being said, there are certain things that are very clear to me that I don't think would take 20 years. They were sorry.
And your house must be so clean.
Like running around, I'm running away to different rooms, and they're chasing, and everyone's chasing me. One of the things that I think won't take 20 years, but we'll see a lot sooner, is the kind of like self-serving tools in Upland that are now UGC, but you'll start seeing brands coming in and utilizing those. So if you look at the different things we did with UNICEF and with Susan G. Komen, and even with Stock Car, FIFA, and NFL, a lot of the UGC tools that we're building will eventually be even like brands utilizing them to create their own experience, part of their metaverse GameFi social strategy. And just like we're seeing every company and even NGOs, or even like a 3 people business, have a social media person, they will have a person in charge of, okay, what's your Upland strategy? What's your metaverse strategy? And how are you utilizing that to, interact with your community? And that I'm seeing within the next 5 years for sure. We don't need to wait 20 years for that.
Yeah, that's super exciting to think about. Idan, anything to add to what Danny said there? Next 20 years, 20-year outlook?
Yeah, I think it's spot on, but I think also, and it ties directly to what Danny said, and what basically grown-up players, may care about. And we're also in the business of shaping and creating the open metaverse. And our vision, definitely 20 years from now, is that you take a resource like Sparklet, for example, which is now basically a resource that is going to be used for creating value inside of Upland. But 20 years from now, that expands beyond Upland, and it just becomes a creator resource in general for the open metaverse. And this is something that we are, even that it's going to happen it's going to take a while to materialize. This is always on our mind when we're designing the systems and the resources. So if I am now using Sparklet to create something inside of Upland, that may serve me to create something in the future in the open metaverse that is not necessarily restricted to Upland. So 20 years from now, Upland is going to be a big, big part of the open metaverse. And this is something we're actively working towards.
Yeah, very, very exciting. Well, with that ends our Upland Q2 AMA live. Thank you very much, everybody, for attending. Again, I think we broke records today. I think this is our most watched. I have to go back and check the numbers. I'm 99.9% sure this is our most watched AMA ever. So thank you guys for being here. Don't forget, Genesis Live is just around the corner. If you want to come and meet Idan, meet Danny in person, you have a question that maybe wasn't answered today, you want to ask them in person, it's going to be a good time at Genesis Live Las Vegas. Go get your tickets now. Also, don't forget, come join us over in the Plaza, raise some drinks, celebrate Friday, and head into the weekend in style. Have a good rest of your day, everybody, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Cheers.